What's up, man? I'm gonna talk about my Chicago Bears. Give my thoughts on the first game. First of all, shout out to the defense. Defense played stout football. I believe they sacked Aaron Rodgers 5 times. They did give up a touchdown to Jimmy Graham in the end zone, which I thought that was gonna be intercepted because it was kind of tossed up. Yeah, Jimmy Graham, he's 6'7", so you should throw the ball up there like that. But I thought that was gonna get picked. And the one to that one receiver that Aaron Rodgers threw, that looked like it slipped out of Aaron Rodgers' hands a little bit. That was a jump ball, in the Green Bay Packers ended up coming down with that. They came down with both of those jump balls. Both of those were really really big, pivotal plays in the football game. The Bears kicker kicked. He hit his field goal, which was good for the crowd. That was there. They were cheering. It's just so much emphasis put on the kicker because the guy last year, missed a kick, was missing kicks in the regular season. Then it was no surprise to me that he missed a kick in the playoffs against the Seattle I mean, not Seattle Seahawks, but the Philadelphia Eagles. I couldn't even look at the kick. That's how bad it was. I went to the restroom and they say he missed it. I wasn't surprised, but so those are some good positives. What I seen now, I got another video I'm gonna drop. But what I've seen out of week one is a lot of missed tackles. A lot of teams missed tackle, a lot of sloppy play, a lot of offsides. I believe the clock ran down a couple times on both teams, the Bears and the Packers. Mr. Brisky, I'm gonna get to him in a minute. Him and Aaron Rodgers was off. I know Matt Nagy. He opened up the game with a trick play and that didn't go off well. It just didn't. They were not in sync. Now for one reason that I think is because none of the starters played in the preseason. Now some starters here and there played in the preseason. I believe Mitch played in the first game. He handed the ball off like 3 times. Listen, I understand they don't want the players to get hurt, right? We all thinking about injuries. Injuries in the preseason. But players can injure themselves in practice. There's injuries in practice. Teddy Bridgewater, the quarterback that used to play for the Vikings, he tore up his knee real bad in practice, and they don't even hit the quarterback in practice. So, yeah, I understand you don't want them to get hurt. They're making a lot of money, especially your franchise quarterback, who you believe is your franchise quarterback. You don't want it to get hurt, but you gotta let these guys play in the preseason, man. At least a couple series. See, when I was looking at football, when I first started looking at football, starters played in the preseason. Like the first game, they'll play like the first couple series. The second game, they'll play a whole quarter. The third game, they'll play into the half. And then the fourth game, they may play a series or two, or they may not play. But especially with a young quarterback like Mr. Trubisky, you have to let him play in the preseason so he can get some reps. One thing about offense, look, like I told you, it takes 11 guys to get one playoff on offense. All those guys have to be in sync. So your quarterback has to be in sync with the offensive line. The offensive line and the quarterback has to be in sync with the wide receivers, the running back. So I don't understand why he didn't play in the preseason as far as meaningful minutes. And he's still a young quarterback, still in a new system. Yes, it's his second year in the system, but he's still new in this system. Get him. I understand practices, but see, practice is practice. Practice is not full speed 100% like a game. A game is like they going 100%. Those guys, when they come around that corner, they come around that corner to sack the quarterback, not come around the corner just to run past him because he got a red jersey on in practice. No, they coming to destroy you. And mentally in practice, mentally that the guys cannot touch you. So you're going to, like Alex Brown did, he said, Alex Brown used to play for the Bears. He said in practice, the quarterback steps into every throw because he's not going to get hit. And he's 100% correct. The quarterback knows mentally he's not going to get hit. When you get in the game, you can get hit, so you're not committing to every pass. Your mechanics is not right on every pass. So that man needed to play in the preseason. Now, if the Bears would have came out, offense would have been clicking on all cylinders. Matt Nagy could have been saying, "Hey, I'm right." But I like Matt Nagy. He's a pretty good quarterback, pretty good offensive, guy. But I believe he. I believe they were. You could be wrong on some things, man. I believe he. I believe that was a wrong decision not to play that man in the preseason. Now, if he was like a veteran quarterback, like 5, 6 years in, and he was 3, 4 years into the system, like a Drew Brees or a Tom Brady, or Russell Wilson, Cam Newton, those guys been in their systems for like 3, 4 years or more. Okay, then I can understand them not playing a whole lot in the preseason. But this guy's still fairly new, and we all know that he only played 1 year as a starter in college. So he looked like his timing was off. Now, a lot of people say he looked really, really bad. Yes, he looked bad. A lot of quarterbacks looked bad this week. A lot of quarterbacks. Ben Roethlisberger looked bad. Aaron Rodgers looked it bad. He had two throws that went his way, but he looked bad. Who else I seen it this week? They didn't look pretty. Baker Mayfield looked bad. A lot of guys did not look good. You know what I'm saying? And to me, I contribute to this has have been the most all season where I haven't seen a lot of starters play. I didn't even want to look at no preseason. I mean, not preseason. Yeah, I didn't even want to look at no preseason games because why am I looking at a bunch of guys that is not going to even make the team? Like 85% of the guys they played in the preseason this year, a lot of those guys didn't even make the team. They're not going to even make the team. And let me go back to Mr. Trubisky. Now, we all know some people don't even, like the fact that the Bears drafted him that high because Patrick Mahomes came out the same draft. Deshaun Watson was there. And the Bears could have got any one of those quarterbacks because the Bears had the second pick of the draft. So, but they got Mr. Trubisky. And, because those two guys are doing good, I don't believe Mr. Trubisky is doing bad. You know what I'm saying? He's still learning. The Bears went to the playoffs last year. He had over a handful of games last year that he played very well in. Now, my biggest thing about Mr. Trubisky is he misses throws, and to me that has a lot to do with his mechanics. I don't think he has bad accuracy. I just think his mechanics are sometimes. He just he doesn't use the proper footwork to step into his throws, and he can overthrow the man. He can make all the throws. He can make all the throws in the book. Back shoulder. He can throw. He got a nice deep ball. Got a strong arm. Can throw on the run. Can throw. You know what I'm saying? Can throw. Running right, going left. He can do all of that stuff. It's just that a lot of times he doesn't fall back on his mechanics that well, and the ball can sail on him, just like the one to Taylor Gabriel. Yes, Taylor Gabriel probably should have made the catch, but the throw could have been much better because it was nobody really around Taylor Gabriel to contest the pass, and if Mr. Trubisky would have put it in the right spot, he probably would have had more time to run with the ball. He missed some other throws. I know the cornerback from the Green Bay Packers said they wanted him to play quarterback. To the victor goes the spoils. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, that was a disrespectful comment that he made." No, it's not disrespectful because when you win the game, you get to say whatever you want to say. Green Bay won the game. We all know it's a highly rivalry game between Green Bay and the Bears, the longest rivalry in the NFL, and you get to say what you want to say when you win. Now, what Mr. Trubisky need to do, he shouldn't take that to heart. What he should take to heart is, I just got to be better. Now, he did say that in the post game, interviews. He got to get better. He just got to get better with when he goes to his second and third receiver. When he goes to his first receiver, he's like that's how I know it's not an accuracy thing, because when his first reads are on the money. Like he doesn't miss his first reads. It's his second and third reads that he's having problems with. Yes, he did look a little mechanical. He looked a lot of mechanical on that day because he should have played in the preseason. Now, not to say that he was going to come out and play a perfect game because he played in the preseason. No, but at least, I think he would have had a better. He would have had a better chance because he would have he would have been in there more going through the fire, because ever since what they got knocked out the playoffs last year. That was his first. That was his first game on Thursday of going 100 miles an hour of guys coming at him. And you can't do that. Now a running back can probably not play in the preseason. I wouldn't recommend it for the receivers because receivers need time with the quarterback. Quarterback receiver, that timing thing, that's very important because a quarterback, a lot of times, if a quarterback is really, you could tell when a quarterback really is in sync with his wide receiver. He can throw the ball before the wide receiver come out they break. That's how you know that they are perfect sync. Like when Joe Flacco threw the ball to Emmanuel Sanders yesterday. Was that Emmanuel Sanders? I believe that was Emmanuel Sanders. One of the no Sutton. It was Sutton, and he threw that ball through the middle of the field with two Raider defenders closing in on the receiver. And he threw the ball before the receiver came out his break. That's timing. That's understanding where your receiver is going to be at. So I don't recommend like running backs. You can plug a running back in there. They can just all they just do is run the daylight. They just run the daylight. Now, yes, there's some timing in there with the offensive line, but they just really run the daylight. And another thing I had issue with, the Bears didn't run the ball enough. When you have a young quarterback, yes, listen, I understand it's a passing league, but you still got to run the football, man. You got to run the football more than 15 times. The Bears will. You don't want Mr. Trubisky dropping back 40 times throwing the football. 35 times, Mr. Trubisky 30 to 35 times dropping back throwing the football is good. When you start getting into the 45s and the 50s, no. That's too much shoulder. That's too much for him to shoulder. You know, I'm not even I don't even want Tom Brady to throw the ball 50 times. I don't even want Patrick Mahomes to throw the ball 50 times. You still need a run balance. The Bears need to run the ball about 25 times, at least 25 times a game. Bears need to run the football at least 25 times a game. You will put Mr. Trubisky in a much better position if you run the ball 25 times a game, at least. So he can have, or, throwing some bubble screens. And another thing, Tariq Cohen. You got to have a package for Tariq Cohen. Tariq Cohen is too explosive not to have a package for him. I know Montgomery, y'all drafted Montgomery, y'all want to see what he can do. Yes, and I see that he could do some good things. Throw some bubble screens to him. Throw some short passes at the backfield to those and get the ball in those receivers or running back hands in short yards and let them make plays after that. Tariq Cohen, Montgomery, Taylor Gabriel, those guys are explosive enough they can take 7-8 yard pass and they can make it into something. So everything doesn't have to be, you don't have to throw everything 20 yards, 30 yards down the field. Now you just throw some of those passes, get Mr. Trubisky in a nice rhythm, get his confidence up, and then you can start going deep. Because the games last year where Mr. Trubisky did good in, he was throwing the ball at the backfield to Jordan Howard or Tariq Cohen, and then he'll work his way to Allen Robinson on them 8-9 yard passes. Trey Burke, I thought Trey Burke missing the game he probably could have brought some more stability because him and Mr. Trubisky have a good rapport. He was throwing the ball to him, and then he was going down deep to Taylor Gabriel, to the other kid. What's the other kid name? Forget the other kid name. But Anthony Miller. He was going to those guys. So now they finna play Denver, which is their old defensive coach. That's a head coach of Denver now. That's not gonna be an easy game. You gotta go to Mile High and play in that thin area. That's not gonna be a gimme game. The Bears gonna have to come up there. They gonna have to come up there on point. Or Denver gonna beat them. They got to come up there on point. You got a quarterback in Joe Flacco that's a former Super Bowl MVP. He can play. They got a couple good running backs. They can play. They got a couple good receivers in Sutton and Emmanuel Sanders. So they're going to have to come up. They got Von Miller on defense with Chubb on defense. I believe, is Chris Harris Jr. still there? I'm not sure if is he still a cornerback there. But they got a pretty decent defense. So, and they got a good defensive mind head coach. He used to coach the Bears, so he understands. He gonna be in the offensive meetings, some of them offensive meetings, telling them the best way to attack that Bears defense. So the Bears gonna have to be on point, man. It's not no gimme. The Bears can end up 0-2 if they not on they stuff. But let me know what y'all think about it, man. I'm out.